I hope you're doing fantastic. Today we're going to be talking about panning inside of Dolby Atmos. We're going to be covering the basics, the basic parameters, and also techniques and best practices to pan things properly inside of Dolby Atmos mixes. Before I dive into the content, I want to let you know that I do have Ultimate Mixing Checklist available for download. You can get that in the first link of the description if you want better and faster mixes. Every single Dolby mix will still apply to this mixing checklist, as every Dolby mix starts with a great stereo mix. Okay. With that said, and before I dive into the actual I want you to be aware that this is all being rendered in headphones, and so the binaural rendering, and so make sure that you're wearing headphones, otherwise you won't be able to hear what's happening inside of this video properly. Okay, with that said, let's dive straight into the content of how to pan properly inside of Dolby Atmos. Make sure that you have your headphones on, otherwise you won't be able to monitor this properly. I'm rendering in the binaural setting, so make sure you have a pair of studio headphones and you are wearing them. With that said, let's dive into exactly how to pan in Dolby Atmos, best practices, and kind of the rules that you should likely be following when you're panning things in Dolby Atmos. First of all, let's cover the actual parameters that exist in panning in Dolby Atmos, because as you can imagine, it's much different than if you are panning in stereo. Because stereo, right, we have a left and a right, and then we have a phantom center, essentially, right? And those are the basically three major areas of a stereo mix. Whereas in Dolby Atmos, we can go anywhere around our head, above us, etc. Going through the parameters specifically, we have angle, which is the actual angle of where it sits around our head, right? So if we can put it behind us. All right. And then we have diversity. Diversity is, I kind of view this as closeness. So as we bring stuff into the center, it actually captures more of the various speakers that exist in a Dolby Atmos setup, and so you can actually bring this in and incorporate more speakers and make it actually feel closer to you because it's coming from everywhere, not just in front of you. So that's diversity. Elevation is exactly what it sounds like. If it's 0, it means it's coming from the floor speakers or the ear level speakers. And then as we move it up, it's going to then only come from the ceiling speakers. If we remember what an actual Dolby Atmos setup has, we have 7 speakers around us, a sub, and then we also have 4 speakers above our heads. And so in this case, where I have it set, we're all the way in the front. Elevation is 90 degrees, which is all the way up. That means that we're using the front 2 ceiling speakers, versus if I did this, then we are using the back 2 ceiling speakers to produce that sound. So that is elevation. And then spread is very similar to any other stereo plugin. It's literally creating additional stereo spread inside of the signal that we have. And so this can be all the way up to 179 degrees, and we can, again, pan that all everywhere. And then there's 2 other parameters that you'll also see inside of the panner, and that is the center level and the LFE level. So the center level is the actual center channel. So if that's muted, right, we can see it's gone. We can't actually increase or decrease that. And then we also have the LFE level, which is low frequency effect. That's what LFE stands for. And this is essentially your sub. And most often this is used in the cinematic world of, if there's an intense scene of an earthquake or a volcano erupting or something, you'll feel that low like rumble shaking you in your seat, and that is what this is. It's only controlling the sub. I think the highest frequency it produces is 120 hertz, if I remember that correctly. Essentially, it's just your sub, and so I use it very sparingly inside of a musical mix. And I will use it obviously for the actual effects. So if I have like an 808 or something that is increasing the energy at a certain point or the impact, and I will 100% use it there. I will also use it sometimes a little bit on my drums and my bass, just because I want to fill up that kind of sub region, even though it doesn't actually make as much of a difference in headphones. You can hear it, but it's not the same effect. That is panning parameters in Dolby Atmos. Some basic terminology that you'll want to be aware of when panning in Dolby Atmos is on the wall versus off the wall. So right now, our lead vocal is considered on the wall, meaning it is 100% as far away as possible on one of these speakers. So anywhere here is on the wall. If I start to bring it in and increase this diversity value, this is considered off the wall. And best practice is to keep everything on the wall except for maybe a few select elements. For example, in this mix, I have everything on the wall except for the keys is a little bit off the wall, and the harmony vocals. So this is also off the wall. This is an object, so it looks still different. I'm going to cover that in a separate video, so setting that aside. Same basic parameters apply, but objects are special, so we'll leave them be. When you're panning, again, keep most of the items on the wall, only a few select elements bring off the wall, especially for those that you're going to be panning around and kind of flying around your head. You know, those are the items that it's okay to bring off the wall and introduce into the mix a little bit more in that regard. The reason why we want to keep it on the wall for the most part is because that will allow us to create the most diversity in terms of space inside of the mix possible. It's similar to panning things hard right and hard left inside of your stereo mix. It creates the largest sonic space in between those elements, and so there's less chance of interfering frequencies that are going to be competing and interfering with one another and just muddying up the mix. So this will allow us to keep a much more stable and also clear mix by keeping everything on the wall and the least amount of overlap as possible. All right, and then the last thing that you're going to want to keep in mind when panning in Dolby Atmos is to keep everything in the front. That is a main element. The only elements that should be in the back behind your head are ear candy and just other elements that don't really matter that much. For example, I have this little boop part here. So let's play a little bit of that. And this is automated, so it's flying around your head as we're going through. You can listen to that. And so that's okay to have just kind of flying around there behind the head, because it's just this little kind of ear candy part, creating some movement inside of this section, but it's not going to be just distracting. Like if I put my lead vocal behind your head, it's just going to be odd. You never listen to music like that, and it's just not natural. So don't be panning, your main drums or your bass or whatever behind your head. It's just odd. Best practice that has come about through Dolby so far is just keep everything in the front that is a main element, and then any ear candy in the back. Also, I like to use a lot of effects, so like a delay, a reverb. Those are the types of things that can go in the back and sound really well, that sound really good back there. For example, I have this lead vocal going into a series of a series of reverbs that kind of move the system back. I'm gonna create another video on this because it's a really cool effect, but you can hear it here, and you can hear there's a lot of reverb going in the back versus in the front. So play that. Life as an offering, no longer heavy in all the pieces. So you can feel a lot of that energy kind of moving in the back behind your head, but it just makes you feel like you're just totally immersed inside of the sound. So that's really obviously the point of Dolby Atmos, but it's a really cool effect. So I'm gonna play this section right here just so you can hear this little boot part that's flying around your head, and kind of hear how that kind of integrates inside the mix as a whole. So again, it's just creating a lot of that movement, which is really cool. Remember, so all of your just basic parameters, angle, diversity, elevation and spread, center, and LFE levels, all of those things should be, you'll get to know those really well once you start mixing in Dolby. They're really not that hard to understand. The one thing that to keep in mind is make sure you have everything on the wall as much as possible, with the exception of those items that you want to bring in a little bit and just play around with that are more main elements or just really ear candy type of elements that you want to emphasize in different parts of the song. And then the last thing is ensuring that all of your main elements are in the front of the mix, and then anything that's in the back of the mix is just going to be ear candy or something that's not, again, a main element of the mix. Don't be throwing your main electric guitars or your bass or your vocals in the back, because that's just sounds awkward and won't end up with the best results. Okay, with that said, thanks for watching this video. If you found this at all helpful, then don't forget to subscribe, as I release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to help you get more professional mixes. All right, I will see you in the next one.